Hello to all our motorcycle race fans. We are live from the Sokol circuit in...
Well, hello, David here from One Up Gaming. Gonna have a quick review from MotoGP 23, and thank you so much to, I guess it wasn't Milestone, but I guess it was their PR team. They did send us a copy of this game free of charge for us to evaluate and do the review. So I will just say that this game is available now. It came out on the 8th of June 2023. And it's available for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Xbox One, with Nintendo Switch and PC via the Steam store. And if you do want to get the MotoGP fill, this is the only fully licensed video game based on the real-life top-level motorcycle Grand Prix series. Take a breath. It's also got the fully licensed teams, riders and bikes for Moto 2, Moto 3 and the MotoGP season. So we will just say that this game is an annual racing series, and Milestone has been at the forefront of the games for quite a while now. I remember playing MotoGP 18 and not being awful. That game was good, and this game, it looks a little bit shiny, a little bit neater, but if I was just watching them at a distance, I wouldn't be able to tell which one was which. But Milestone have said that they've put a lot of work into this year's career mode. The whole career mode feels much truer to life, where your actions on the track can mean that you actually get that elusive ride for that MotoGP team, or if you do not as well, you might stay in the Moto 3 series, or you get promoted to the Moto 2 series. And I do love the idea of that. Reminds me a little bit of the old PS1 Andretti Racing, which I adored to bits. As we said before, as impressive as MotoGP has been over the last few years, a lot of the core experience hasn't changed a lot. But here you'll notice that a lot of things have changed right from the off. You start off the career mode with two races one in Malaysia and one in Qatar, and you need to sort of like race these, do as well as you can. You're not going to win the series, but the better you do, the better the team will come in for you for the next season, if that makes sense. You're also introduced to a social media sort of feed, which is called MotoGP Wall, and this is where a little more like RPG sort of elements, where there'll be a rival or a teammate or someone that says something like a tweet, and you can reply to that, and there's a couple of options to reply, and you'll either make more friends or you'll make more enemies, and then that either helps or hinders you on the track itself, as people might become a bit more aggressive. Two races with the lowest bike in the game is an ideal way to introduce beginners to the MotoGP 23, and sets the scene of what is an exciting single player experience. So as we say, there's that new level system within this game now, so you'll climb from rookie to champion. It makes the gameplay feel that more special. It gives you more sense of progression. So depending how you perform, you'll either be promoted to either Moto 2 or the full-fledged MotoGP for your second season. As we said before, the gameplay in this game is very much largely the same as last year's MotoGP game. We're not going to criticise it too much though, because last year's game was amazing, and this year is comfortably the best two-wheeled game that you can get your hands on for a more realistic take on motorbikes. The handling and the graphics of the tracks and the bikes look absolutely superb. The feeling of the bikes are really nice. The mechanics of the floor feel good. Handling does take a little bit of getting used to. They're a little bit more understeery. So if you're going too fast, you basically go straight off the track. But if you keep slow and keep to the racing lines and keep an eye on what you're doing, then it does help the inexperienced riders with that. So if you keep an eye on the aids and the gameplay sort of aids, then it really helps you get into the game. To Milestone's credit, a lot of the menus look so much slicker than before. The HUD while you're racing has been given a really nice lick of paint. Looks a lot more professional, let's say. When you get onto the podium, or when you're doing celebrations, or when you're joining new teams, things like that, a lot of these little tiny video clip bit, the celebrations with your team, they just look a lot more realistic. They just look better. Everything looks cool. The big thing I will say though is the human faces look disastrous. They really do look bad. The other big thing that's been added to this game is dynamic weather. Now, a lot of people might think that all racing games now have dynamic weather, but this is the first time that the MotoGP game does have this. So, as you might expect, rain can start at any point when you're racing, and say you've just gone past the pit entrance and it starts to really pour down, then you'll struggle to stay up on the track and you'll slide off, and the circuit itself is just super slippy. Or if you manage just to get into the pits, get onto the wets, and you can really dominate that race from then on. It really puts the spanner in the works. It really pushes everything to the side, and it is just weird. Something else that's been added, which a lot of people haven't mentioned that much, is the introduction of sprint races. Now, just like in the MotoGP 23 real life, sprint races are there, and it helps spice up the action during the race weekend. So they've been added on this as well. It's got a lot of circuits on here. It's got the entire 2023 MotoGP calendar that's in from launch, including the now cancelled Kazakh Grand Prix. India makes its debut in the game as well, and tracks like Aragon, which I still think that's the lead person from Lord of the Rings, Estoril, Donington Park, as just says Donington, and all of those that are in MotoGP 22 are here as well, but they're classed as historical circuits. It's very accessible as well, thanks to the MotoGP Academy. So, say you've got onto the Donington circuit, there's either the full track you're struggling with, or there's a specific section of the track. You can actually go into the academy and practice that. Like a lot of these bike games, it's actually the practice, because you need the flow of the circuit as you're going through. So you have no excuse as to why you're rubbish at the game when you can practice it at all times. Milestone, yet again, they've produced an amazing game. As we say, this is probably the best motorbike game available on the on any sort of format this year. I will just say that I really miss the fact that we need to get another Gravel. I loved Gravel to bits. Very arcadey, very much Sega Rally style, but that was an amazing game. If you're watching this and you're interested in that, buy it. It's only like £5-10. It's really cheap and cheerful, and I love that game so much. So basically, the key things you have to get from this game and this review. The game is almost identical in gameplay wise to last year's game, but the overall experience with the new career mode and new bits added to that makes this game so much better than the sum of its parts. It is amazing. It's got all the tracks, all the riders, it's got everything in there that you need, and it's got enough content to keep you going for the full year until next year's game appears. So we at One Up Gaming give this game a glorious 4 out of 5. Go into your online stores and purchase this game without hesitation. If you're into bikes at all, you have nothing to worry about. This is an amazing game. So me, David from One Up Gaming, thank you, goodbye.
The riders are enjoying their lap of honour, soaking up the crowd's applause. Let's take the opportunity to have a look at the MotoGP final classification together.